All right, here's my honest Melbourne Marathon review. I have quite a few thoughts on the race, so we're going to go through the good and the bad. The good. The conditions are pretty much perfect. It was between 10 to 13 degrees Celsius, which is ideal running weather. However, there was quite a bit of headwind along the beach, and also we got about a minute and a half of rain at one point in the race, which just pulled it back a little bit. The organization of the start line and the whole setup there, so there was plenty of space, there was lots of toilets, which is really important at the start of a race. Plus there was heaps of room to warm up before the race too. The MCG finish was absolutely iconic, really good for spectators too, and the whole exit after the finish line was well organized and took you right outside the stadium really easily. I think they did a really good job with the merch and the medals. So this is the finishers medal, which I absolutely love. And then here is the finishers shirt, which I think is probably the coolest finishers shirt I've seen. And just all of the other merch they had for the event. The singlet that I ran the race in, I really loved it. I love the messaging on the back and just the overall aesthetic. So Melbourne did a really good job with this. Now onto the bad stuff, and there are two main things I want to discuss here. So the first part is the actual course. Now, aside from Albert Park and the MCG, I really wasn't a fan of the course, and I think it needs a lot of improvement. It was way too narrow, way too often. The first 3 kilometers of the race is actually separated into 2 sides of the road because there's a grass island in the middle. So you've got some runners on the right side, some runners on the left side, and overtaking is really hard during this narrow section. About 18 kilometers, or almost half the race, is just an out and back section along the beach. This is also really exposed to some headwinds, which is just an unnecessary variable that's going to affect all your runners. Plus, it's pretty boring. Now, the biggest issue I had with the course was how the races all merged together. So at the 32 kilometer mark, running the marathon, which is the most painful part of the marathon, obviously, we had to merge with the half marathon runners into a really narrow bit of road. And for us, we were running about 4 minutes per kilometer. We merged with the 1 hour 45 pacing group for the half marathon, who were running 5-minute kilometers. So we kind of go from suddenly having quite a lot of space to all of a sudden having no space at all and being congested in with people that are running a minute slower per kilometer than us. Now, the other major issue that I had for the race were the paces. There were 3 separate 3-hour paces. So normally when this happens, you'd expect them to be staggered and about a minute apart from each other with different groups running with them. But these 3-hour paces for some reason had decided to run side by side. And every single person that was trying to run a sub-3 marathon was in that one group. So you can imagine how chaotic this got when it came to aid stations. When they had to merge with the half marathon, how chaotic and crazy that must have been. I think with Melbourne, the things that they did well, they did really well. But then the things that they didn't do well, they really need to be improved. Wouldn't be the first marathon that I'd recommend to people, but it's definitely got the potential to improve in future years. Let's go.